speak live to our reporter, Jamie Weir. Jamie, what are we to make of these extraordinary comments from Phil Mickelson?
Well, there's an awful lot to unpack in that lengthy statement, isn't there, Nick? And before we get into the meat of it, I think it is important to just preface all that with what you just said in that final paragraph of that lengthy statement, that the past 10 years I've felt the pressure and stress slowly affecting me at a deeper level. I know I've not been my best and desperately need some time away to prioritize the ones I love most and work on being the man I want to be. Now, no one is immune to suffering with mental health issues, even as someone as narcissistic and arrogant as Phil Mickelson. So if that is the case, that he is suffering with his mental health, let's hope that he does get the help that he needs, because he is a legend of the game. He is one of the greatest players to ever pick up a golf club. He is a 6-time major champion. He's a reigning major champion, for crying out loud. But there's no doubt that his reputation is in tatters after what has happened over the last few weeks, what's played out very publicly. And this statement, I think, can be sort of summed up as sorry, not sorry. Sorry, essentially, that I've been rumbled. Sorry that I've been caught like a kid who's been caught with his fingers in the cookie jar. Yes, he says in the statement that his words have been taken out of context, that it was reckless. He's offended people. He apologizes for the choice of words he used. But he also tries to defend himself by saying, look, I was only looking after the best interests of golf. That's all that's been at the forefront of my mind throughout. So I think there is a lot in this for people to digest. But most of all, I think it smacks of a statement where he is desperate to save face, desperate to try to keep sponsors on board. There's numerous mentions of his sponsors, of his partners. We know how lucrative those would be for him. So he's trying to keep a lot of people happy, and I'm not sure that he's going to succeed with a statement like this.
And also over the last couple of days, we've seen Bryson DeChambeau and Dustin Johnson publicly reject the Saudi Golf League. We had Rory McIlroy saying, so who's left? But Mickelson tonight still hasn't said he's not going to be part of it.
No, absolutely. And, you know, the fact that he hasn't said that, the fact that he's left that door open is quite glaring in this statement. It has been an awful week for Greg Norman and for Liv Investments, which is essentially backed by the Public Investment Fund, which is essentially the Saudi government, of course. They've seen the biggest names in the game, the likes of Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, very publicly torpedo and ridicule the notion of this league. Then they've seen the two pillars that they were hoping to hang this entire league on, Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau, very publicly give the PGA Tour their backing and commit their future to the PGA Tour. And now this with Phil Mickelson saying that he needs to take a break from the game, and who knows how long, how lengthy that break may be. But, you know, it's interesting to read. He says that his experience with Live Golf has been very positive. He says he apologizes for anything that was taken out of context, but calls the people he's been dealing with visionaries who have been supportive, who passionately love golf, who share his drive to make the game better. Now, that's very hard to square with the fact that it's also an oppressive regime where they chemically castrate homosexuals, where women are second-class citizens, where people are still publicly stoned, where journalists are chopped up into tiny pieces. Can you really say all that, then also say all they want to do is make the game of golf better? I think for a lot of people, that's going to be pretty hard to take.
Is there a way back for Phil Mickelson from this?
Look, who knows? I think his reputation has suffered a great deal in recent weeks. I know for a fact that a lot of the younger players in the game, the likes of Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, who have put Phil on a pedestal throughout their careers, who they've looked up to and admired. He's been a friend and a mentor. I know they've lost an awful lot of respect for him, and that's going to be difficult to recover. But, you know, memories can be pretty short. They say, you know, a week is a long time in insert sport here, and a week has certainly been a long time in golf, because this story has developed at a rapid pace in recent weeks. I think there are knock-on questions in terms of, you know, what does it mean for his Ryder Cup legacy? The people had him already inked in, to be honest, to be the Ryder Cup captain in New York in 2025. And do the PGA of America really want to hitch their wagon to somebody as volatile as Phil Mickelson, who's still causing such controversy at the age of 51, when frankly he should know a little bit better? I think also it's quite obvious in this statement the complete absence of the words PGA Tour. There's not one mention of PGA Tour, not one apology to them at all. The fact that he's dragged their name through the mud in recent weeks as well. This is a tour that he's won $95 million on the PGA Tour over the course of his career. They've given him an incredibly lucrative career. Off the course, he's made anywhere between $500 million and $1 billion in endorsements as well. He's got a huge pension fund thanks to the PGA Tour as well. So he owes the PGA Tour an awful lot, and he's treated them with absolute contempt over the last few weeks with some of his comments. Alan Shipnuck, he owes an apology to as well. Alan Shipnuck, for those that don't know, is an incredibly well-respected golf journalist in the United States. He essentially accuses him of taking his words out of context, of breaking the confidentiality of what he felt was an off-the-record conversation. We know that that wasn't an off-the-record conversation, and you've just spoken about the words that Phil Mickelson said to him there about Jamal Khashoggi and the Saudi regime and this leverage against the PGA Tour. So there are a lot of questions still left unanswered. It seems fairly clear, talking about taking time away from the game, that he's not going to be at the Players' Championship in a couple of weeks' time, which of course is the jewel in the crown of the PGA Tour, their flagship event. Had he been there, giving the whole Phil Mickelson act, the thumbs up to the crowd, the signing the autographs, it would have been a real sideshow for the PGA Tour, and there would have been an awful lot of cameras, you would imagine, trained on Phil Mickelson, but he loves that and he never shies away from the cameras. So when will we see Phil Mickelson next? He is a 3-time Masters champion. As I said, he's a reigning major champion. So will we see him at Augusta in a couple of months' time? A lot of questions to answer, a lot to unpick from this statement, but it's been an awful few weeks for Phil Mickelson, and I don't think this statement is going to do much to appease a lot of people.
Jamie With,